When adventure begins, the hero must pay attention to this. Stage number 1. Hearing the call to adventure. This is the first actual deed that the hero does. It's the first step in the hero's journey. He has a destiny, and now he's hearing the call to adventure. Now, what's the call to adventure? The call to adventure is the moment when some being, some creature, somebody tells the hero, here's a chance to do something. Here is an adventure. Here's a point where you are needed. Now, very often this figure is called a herald. A herald is the announcer of the call to adventure. The herald is the guy who says, hey, here's something to be done. Maybe it's a guy who comes before the hero and says, look, in the other village, you know, there was a dragon and he captured the princess and somebody needs to do something about it. And here we find another important concept that is quite common in mythology. It's called the damsel in distress. The damsel in distress is the archetypal version of a woman that, and I'm sorry, this is an ancient concept. You know, I know some feminists may go like, whoa, I say something about that, because you get a male counterpart to this just as well. But the damsel in distress is the archetypal form of a woman that needs to be saved. And the woman here represents, in terms of the man's hero's journey, highest possible reward. So it's an honoring way to deal with women. And let me say this, the equivalent exists just as well. There are many myths where it's the guy who needs to be saved. So even though the concept is called the damsel in distress, there are quite a few myths and fairy tales where some guy or even a bunch of guys have messed it up and they need to be saved. So, you know, there's like the cursed prince. Probably the most famous version is the frog and the princess, or the Beauty and the Beast. And there's lots of other fairy tales and stories where it's really the female heroine who saves their male partner or their lover or their brother or whoever. So this is not, you know, something that requires any criticism, but it may seem at first sight, I do understand that. Going back to the main topic, the thing here really is, we have this archetype of somebody who needs our help. And maybe the person asks for help themselves, so that means the damsel in distress and the herald are one and the same person, but very often it's somebody else who says, look, there's something, we need your help. And this is the starting point in a lot of fairy tales, in a lot of myths. Maybe the announcement comes because a parent, a father, a brother, a sister is sick, and this elixir of life needs to be found to save them. It can have all kinds of versions, all kinds of forms, but there's some kind of calling to the hero. Sometimes it's a calling to this specific hero, but very often it's a calling that's just announced to the world. Hey, there's a dragon! But here's the interesting thing. Not everybody hears the calling. I mean, they do hear it, but they don't hear it. What I mean is, people hear, oh, there's this adventure to be done. I hope somebody does it. That's the attitude that most people have. You know, oh, there's a dragon. Hopefully somebody comes and saves us. But only the hero feels, that's for me. I'm the one who's going to fight the dragon. I'm the one who's gonna save the princess. I'm the one who's going to do it. And just the same, as I said, for the female heroine. It means something to them. And why does it do that? Because of the previous stage. In the previous stage, it was all about realizing that you have a destiny. And perhaps not even consciously realizing it, that's okay. But if you have a destiny and then there is the opportunity to do something amazing, you'll go like, yeah, that's for me. But if you don't feel you have a destiny, you're not going to do anything about it. So here the quality is, first of all, to go into the world with the sense that you have to do something, and second, to to be aware of it, to actually notice it. And that's not a trivial thing, because a lot of people don't really see their opportunities. So the pictogram, the symbol for the stage, is somebody who listens to the call. And that's to remind us to be observant, to be aware of our chances and opportunities. Okay, so let's think about how we can apply this in our own life. Let's assume you've set a goal. What is the next stage to fulfill that goal? In the hero's journey, after having a destiny, the hero hears the call to adventure. Now, in your personal project, once you have set a goal, you need to hear, you need to be open, you need to see opportunities, you need to see what is there. You need to look around. You need to find out information. And that's exactly what the stage is all about. Gathering information. Gathering information about opportunities, gathering information about what the situation is all about, getting information about competition if it exists, getting information about the target of your project. You know, if you depend on what you want to do, if you want a job, you know, find out something about your possible employer. If you, for example, if you are trying to win the love and affection of somebody, find out what they like. Just be aware of chances and opportunities. You know, you want to speak to somebody and you want their interest. Is this the right moment? Find out about those things. So you need to gather information. You need to gather information about chances, about possibilities, and you need to see those possibilities. You need to walk through the world with open eyes, because otherwise you will miss your chances, you will miss your opportunities, you will misunderstand what life is all about, or what you could have done with your life. And it's the same with this video. You saw this video perhaps in the search results, or perhaps in your subscription email. Great if you did subscribe, and even better if YouTube actually sent you an email, which they don't always do, which is, why it'd be great if you, to gather more information, subscribe to our newsletter, so you will never miss a video. So wherever you found it, you saw your opportunity and you clicked on it. And that's, on a very basic level, the same skill that this stage is all about. So that's the first step in actually doing anything. You need to have information. Knowledge and information is such an important thing that right now everybody talks about privacy policies and where does my data go to, who can see my data. That tells you how important that is. Remember, knowledge is power. And if you like, maybe tell us in the comments about some chances and opportunities that you have met in your life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully see you in the next video.